The jobs that are needed in the 2021 budget. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, because I want to talk about this article from Yahoo Finance, which is discussing the jobs needed that experts are saying in this year's budget. Before we get to that, let's just have a look at the unemployment rate, everyone. We can see, according to the ABS, the unemployment has fallen down to 5.6%. You can see the significant climb up here, everyone, that we have. Hang on, I'll get my highlighter working. You can see how it's climbed up there with last year introduction of JobKeeper, all of these mechanisms, and now it's falling down dramatically. This is the ABS methodology. There's another unemployment rate. This is the Roy Morgan one, and here they have it at 9%. Generally, the rule of thumb is you kind of take the ABS unemployment rate and you double it to kind of get the Roy Morgan figure. What's concerning is the combined underemployment and unemployment together, and you get the under and unemployment rate, which is 18.3%. But the difference is, or the similarity is, between these two methods, depending on which one you prefer, which is more accurately representative of the actual unemployment rate, is the trend. They're both falling down. So Roy Morgan's gone from 11.4% down to 9%. That's a pretty significant drop, down from 13.1% in February. Same thing here with the ABS. So unemployment is going down. So I thought it'd be interesting to have a look at what jobs there's these experts, and who these experts are, what jobs are saying that the budget needs to create. Because here's the thing, everyone. Do you think it's the job of the government to create jobs? Do you think they're even capable of creating jobs? Remember, the government really only gets their money from us. It seems funny that they tax civil servants. They're kind of paying themselves. It's just the way it goes. So let's have a look at this. It'd be great to see just some advocates in the public sphere talking about reducing the size of government. But it doesn't seem to be the popular thing these days, does it? It's just more intervention, and everyone wants a slice of the pie, which, well, frankly, you can't blame people, can you? So, the May federal budget will need to crank up funding in the healthcare, education, and childcare sectors if the Treasurer is to make good on his goal of bringing down the unemployment rate, experts have said. Okay, so to bring down unemployment, they want more funding for healthcare, more funding for education, and more funding for childcare sectors. We have a look at just our education sector. It's getting worse. The results that we're getting from our education sector have declined. 2008, remember the GFC? We had the building education revolution. All this money just plowing into education. We're getting dumber. Our results are getting worse. It's made no difference. Have these economists not played, good old SimCity back in the day? Throwing more and more money at your utility providers. The benefit of additional funding loses its impact. There's something else wrong with our education system, that the outcomes are getting worse. I did a video where I showed just our experience with in-day schooling, and just the acoustic levels spiking at 90 decibels, everyone in a room full of 90 kids. This is where some of these spaces are changing. We've been asked to design them because I can understand the benefit from a teacher's perspective, multiple teachers teaching one whole group, bringing them together, dividing them up. Can you really learn in that environment as effectively? We'll have to see the results. Next, what is it? What's that test the kids have to do? They've got to do this school test. I think we're preparing for it. We're not really preparing for it. We're just preparing to have to take 3 days off school to go do it. We'll have to see what the results are. Anyway, back to this. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg said bringing the jobless rate, currently at 5.6% down, to having a 4 in front of it, was a central goal for his second pandemic budget. The budget will lay out the next phase of Australia's economic recovery plan to grow our economy so we can deliver the jobs and guarantee the essential services Australians rely on and keep Australians safe, he declared last week. But where exactly should these jobs be created in order to rev up the economy? Here's what experts told Yahoo Finance. Okay, here's what experts told Yahoo Finance. I mean, this is the thing. The question is, should you consider getting a job in one of these sectors? If it's government funded, there's a lot of political will to keep these sectors going. It doesn't make sense, you know? I've got friends in healthcare, they're doing quite well. So, in the 2021 budget, if the 2021 budget is to focus on jobs, there should be a strong focus on the care economy, according to think tank Grattan Institute CEO Danielle Wood. So the care economy, a bedpan economy. This isn't innovation, everyone. This is taking care of the sick. And, you know, I appreciate it. I understand why, you know, then there is a general duty of care to our fellow man, and as an advanced civilization, we should provide a level of health care. And, well, some of the best hospitals in the state were started as charities. Care sectors are labor intensive and so deliver great jobs, bang for buck in terms of government spending, she told Yahoo Finance. Healthcare jobs, alongside education, have also been singled out by the National Skills Commission as the two sectors expected to add most jobs in the next 5 years. Well, this is because we're going to have an aging population, and our diet doesn't really lend itself to not needing healthcare or support in old age. We also know there's a big social need for expanding services in areas like aged care and mental health, Wood added. Well, we definitely, I think we're falling behind in mental health. You can just see some of the people with obvious mental health issues in the public's realm. You know, commenting about things which are just utterly insane. You know, some of them even get elected to Parliament. It's ludicrous. So there's obviously some mental health services that we need. So, recruitment firm Adecco Australia Managing Director Kelly Van Nelson also said the 2021 budget needed to contain further investments in healthcare. Okay. See, both these people have an agenda. This is what we're reading, everyone. We're reading an agendaed piece. You have to understand that. As the nation finds its way out of COVID-19, we cannot forget the lessons learned during the pandemic. What lessons have we learned during the pandemic? We've learned that the actual impact that lockdowns have had on mitigating the spread of the illness is questionable at best, but the economic impact of it can be quite readily measured. That our government has increased the debt at a state and federal level to the likes of which we've never seen before, and the debt may be repaid by 2080. Yeah, is that what we've learned? So, it revealed how critical our frontline healthcare workers and health services are, and they must be properly resourced and supported. Education. Australia needs a national overhaul of the TAFE system, and federal funding should be directed towards apprenticeships, said Alison Pennington, senior economist of the Australian Institute Centre for Future Work. Well, this is the thing. What's the point in getting people doing apprenticeships if there's nowhere to work after you do your apprenticeship? What's the point in getting people to do university degrees if there's no work for people with those degrees? The government has indicated it will pursue more so-called market-led reforms of the vocation, education and training sector. This could be disastrous, Pennington told Yahoo Finance. Well, no, the market needs to dictate where education should be pursued. That's how it should happen. Remember that there should be price signals going through the market. If you interfere in it, you're going to screw it up for people. You'll get a mess where people will, spend years educating themselves, incur debt, lose the opportunity costs associated with that, and there'll be no jobs in that sector. That's the cruel trick we play on foreigners here in Australia. You get a lot of the international students that come over here to come into Australia. You can study and then get a job. They'll do like a postgraduate master's degree, spend an absolute fortune, and then there's no opportunities for that qualification in this country. So I've become too cynical with the universities. I think are more interested in just making money off the international students than actually responding to the market. Or that's the market they're responding to. Australia's vet system is in terrible shape after decades of neglect and market experimentation. We need to reinvent and recapitalise an integrated post-secondary education system, including a revitalised public TAFE system that can more efficiently meet the needs of new industries for skilled workers and professionals. I've heard some real real harsh criticisms of actual TAFE. Such dead wood can wind up in these organizations. They just jump through the hoops to keep it going and collect their paycheck. More than 200,000 apprenticeships in the pipeline have been lost between 2012 and 2017, she said, and as many as 130,000 more could end up being lost leading up to 2023. TAFE delivers over half of apprenticeship programs in Australia, yet have not appeared once in the Coalition's job and skills policy, she said. The government has aimed to grow short, low-quality traineeships but not apprenticeships, which need long-term investment and commitment, but this will require strong public funding. This budget, the government cannot use skills development to pass the buck on job creation. Skills don't create jobs, she said. Well, entrepreneurs create jobs. No mention of that here. If you want to create jobs, whatever the government's doing is not going to create jobs. Because remember, the government's kit of money, even if they borrow it from the Reserve Bank or borrow it from issuing bonds, it's siphoned out of us one way or another. They don't really create it. They don't really earn it. They tax it. We're the tax cattle. So we'll have to work for it. Entrepreneurs create jobs. People taking risks, saving money, start a business. They create jobs. They employ people. If you want to create jobs, the government needs to step back and make it easier for that to happen. One suggestion that's never mentioned because it's too politically, would you say politically incorrect? But you need to make it easier to fire people. Because if you've got someone who's terrible, and sometimes if it's their first job, they need to learn that their behavior isn't appropriate, you want to be able to sack them on the spot. You don't want to jump through 50 bloody hoops. This is why businesses just put everyone on casual, because they want to be able to just give them no hours if they want to deal with them. This is why businesses offshore work, because it's easier to deal with. This is why businesses go through contracting companies. That's why you can put all these rules in place, and it may protect and provide privilege to a small group, but it screws the vast majority. Australia is experiencing a glut of overskilled workers and not enough jobs, with employment rates for university graduates at record lows. Pennington added, well, depends on what your degree's in. University can be really useful, but it depends on what qualification you get. So many people get generic qualifications that probably aren't worth it. But also there's this whole push to go to university. Probably not everyone shouldn't go. You don't need to go. You can make more money out of university. The Morrison government must prioritise sustained long-term investment, both public and private, in creating good, skilled jobs of the future. This means no longer gifting businesses billions in public money without conditions of creating jobs. More direct hiring in public sector jobs. Wow, more civil servants. And investing in our public vet and universities to deliver the skills we need. We already have an insane public service. In some states, it's nearly 30% of the workforce. Just think about that. Childcare. And this is all the money they're throwing at childcare. It's almost like Mortgage Keeper, everyone, because they want both people to work. They want the state to raise your children. You don't need to raise your own kids. Get the state to raise them. I've been playing this new Warcraft Doom mod called Blades of Agony, completely free. I'd recommend it if you're an old gamer and played the original Warcraft. But, so I'm just filled with all of this socialist propaganda on the walls in that game. And I keep thinking about how the Austrians, when Austria was overtaken, and then all of a sudden this state childcare was brought in to get the women all working. So while the Morrison government has already announced a $1.7 billion to support childcare services for 400,000 families, Wood doesn't believe this goes far enough. Of course you don't. Business Council boss Jennifer Westcott also believes more needs to be done to improve women's participation in the workforce. Our childcare and paid parental leave systems are a barrier to women who want to get back into work, and they don't work for modern families, she said late last month. I mean, this is the thing. Do you want to raise your own kids, or do you want someone else to? Because you're missing out on the best part of your life, honestly. Spending these quality years with your children. It's kind of sad. Nothing sadder than hearing about someone putting a 6-month-old or a 3-month-old into daycare. It's nuts. You get children experiencing abandonment issues there. This has psychological impacts on kids. This isn't a sign of a progressive or advanced civilization. This is a sign of desperation when you've gotten to a point now where you can't actually support a family off one income. That's regressive, everyone. That's going backwards. But I don't want to, the feminists will write, you don't need to be a housewife. Don't be a slave to your husband. Go work for someone else selling sandwiches or some crappy office job of no significance. I mean, come on. Back in the day, if women wanted to have a career, they would make those sacrifices. Didn't need all the government handouts. What do you think? I mean, I'm all for people having opportunities, but you got to realize what you're sacrificing, everyone. It's kind of sad in a way. So, digital workers. At Echo Group, ANZ Regional Managing Director Brett Bajar said 6.5 million more digital workers would be needed in Australia over the next 5 years. What's a digital worker? Is that someone working in IT or someone who can literally work digitally, remotely? Because then they don't need to be in Australia. They'll be offshored. But targeted funding education will have to factor into this, she added. If we don't use this time to change the education system into a diverse and equitable... What? Diverse and equitable fashion, we fall behind, missing out on billions in economic growth. What the hell does diverse and equitable have to do with addressing technical skills shortages? But don't worry, we've seen what they're doing to our education system here in Australia. They're making it woke beyond belief. I'm sure that'll help. Maybe this is why our education standards are dropping. This is why you've got so many graduates that can't get work. Historically, we have considered education as an expense, but we need to move the conversation to agility and micro-credentialing, to create jobs that will support the economy of the future. You know what's better education system? YouTube. You can learn more skills there than you need. The only reason you jump through the education hoops is because you need to get the piece of paper. It's the degrees there that I have. They're the ones that open the door so I can pass my registration exam, so I can get licensed to call myself an architect, so I can pay money every year. That's why. When I went to university, I had workshops and lectures. Where do you think I learned most of the stuff? It's funny that, isn't it? Actually, for us, a lot of it was on the job. A lot of it was on the job. So, what's the solution about this? There needs to be discussions about reducing the size and scale of government, everyone. We need to try and push for that more. And for people to understand that it's not the government that creates jobs. Government just redistributes resources from the population. Even when you think that they're creating all these jobs, healthcare and education, this is just resources taken from one group, and that's how they've deployed they've chosen to redistribute it. And you may argue that's how it should always be. That's the best way. But we need to look at more innovative and additional approaches. There should be calls to reduce government, so then you can reduce the burden on individuals. And then more people might look at creating a job. But, I mean, seriously, we're in Australia. What's everyone going to do? They'll buy houses, negative gear it. Yeah, she'll be right, mate. I remember seeing the civil servants. Well, I have worked for the government. I did it. I was part of the Architectural Practice Academy. I lasted about 1.5 years before I registered and got out of the program early. But I remember... seeing all these civil servants, they're doing their drafting job, working for the government, and they were just, doing developments on the side. They're the secure government job the banks loved. They love the civil servants. Maybe that's another reason why we're hearing calls for increased public servants, because the banks love them. Lend money, buy houses, negative gear, rinse and repeat. What do you reckon? As always, thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. If you enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can sign up for YouTube or Patreon. Use our affiliate links at SelfWealth or Stake. Support us via our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or even AussieBroadband. Buy our merch from HeiseSays and use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint. Finally, you can also help us out via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.